Right, let's try that again. I'm sorry, we think we just lost connection. Facebook crashed. I'm still here. Pups are still not pottering around in the garden. Here he is. There we go. I'm not sure what happened. I think I lost people. Facebook crashed on me because it's Facebook. Look at this. He's a clever dog. He's eating grass. Ah, dear. There she is. Yep. Nice. Here is my workspace. It's a little office. Some of you have seen this, I think, from past videos, but that is my little desk. With wonderful art by Tom Brown from Hopeless, Maine. I love people doing art for my stories. It's fantastic. It's so good. Here we go. You can see the stormy skies. And my view. I'm just waiting for everyone to find their way back here because I had a fair few people a moment ago. Let's have a sit. Oh, we go. Let's sit down. Turn the camera around. Hello. There we go. So anyway, as I was saying, how is everyone? Is everyone okay? You'll have to type because I can't hear you. I'm not sure who's on. I can see one person. Just the one. Oh, there we go. Hello. This is like doing talks in a public place. You're always sort of waiting for latecomers to turn up because you never know when anyone's going to walk in. Hello. Evening. There we go. Everyone's finding their way back. Oh gosh, we've got international. Hello, Scotland. Place with better government, allegedly. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm trying to sort this so that the light isn't quite so bright on me. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know how this works. There we go. Something like that. There we are. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this. It's sort of go on Facebook, go live, and then if it all works out, then I go and put it on YouTube. And I try not to mention names in case anyone's not happy about that. Yeah, Facebook crashed. The first time I tried to do this, after about 5 minutes, Facebook crashed. I lost the lot of you. I don't know where you went. Clearly I am making problems for Facebook. Hello. Okay, we have Derbyshire, we have Scotland, we have Twickenham, we have Lancaster. We have people from all over the place. I do try and do this evening time so that I can get as many friends from overseas as well. And we had a fair few from America last time, which is pretty amazing. I think I've had requests from Australia, but I think that would have to be early morning. So you try and do you try and do what you can. Pauline says, don't care if you mention my name. This is Pauline from the Druid Network, who is lovely, and she's Scotland. Oh, Brighton, crikey. I miss Brighton. I used to live in Sussex. Oh, we have the southwest. Oh, it's nice to see people. It really is. It's been an up and down week, and although we're not still in lockdown here as such, people are still being really careful, and it's not wanting to go out until you absolutely have to. And people are lovely. People locally are really nice about it, but there's still that sense of nerves. So we've been staying in, and I've been missing people so much because social media's just been showing me what everyone is getting up to, and I've just been wanting to roam around and zoom down and see people and go across to America and see my friends over there, which isn't happening for a while, pretty sure. And the world, even though we're not on lockdown, the world's still stopped. Or a big pause, certainly. So we've been trying to do stuff here, and it was thinking, yes, I want to do another chat with you all, because a lot of people have been sending me questions about stuff randomly this month, so I thought, let's do that. I've not done that before, and it's sort of an ask me anything. I reserve the right to say no. I reserve the right to say, oi, back off. That's in case Paul Mitchell comes on and asks me something rude. But yeah, it's like getting together with people in a camp type space and being able to chat in a circle with a campfire, which is what I'm trying to achieve here, even though it's only a little candle that I've got. It's just wanting to share some time. And I think I feel like I look really tired. I am. It's been a stressy few weeks, but if you want to know why, look at my blog. It's druidcat.wordpress.com and see all the health stuff which has been going on. Hospital shenanigans. They start next week, but it's all fine. It's all okay. I'm being looked after very well. I'm being managed. Oh, and that's fine. Hopefully it will either kill the brain weasels of depression or make them hibernate for at least 6 months. So, oh, hello America. Yep. Zoom meeting to see each other. I don't have Zoom. I've never used Zoom. Hold on. Fen wants in. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this face. And she's gone out. Right, Fen, come on, in. He's had his walk. Right, in. He's had his walk, and now he just wants to play because he's like a 5-year-old who wants to carry on playing. Here we go. Zoom meeting. Maybe? I don't really know how those work, to be honest. I've seen all of the online things. It would be quite weird, but I don't know how to do it with infinite people, if you know what I mean, with an open number of people. And I'll look into it. I've got some techie friends who might be able to help. So, how am I? I am all right this evening. I'm tired. I'm getting on. It's, as I say, it's not been an easy few weeks, but I'm getting on, and I wanted to do this tonight, so I want to see everyone and I wanted to chat to everyone. So I hope we don't crash again. If we do, I will start the chat again and keep fingers crossed that it will go fine. Yes, I don't like being filmed either. I really don't get it, because I know that's the thing these days, is to have your Instagram or have your TikTok or whatever. I don't like it. I don't like it. I've never liked it. Yeah, Zoom with limited numbers I think would be a thing, so it would be sort of a class type scenario, and that would be something to look at, but we'll see. I have looked into how to do streaming of movies so we can all watch the same movie one evening, and I think that would be like this. So I'd go live and occasionally switch the camera around to the TV so you could see where it is, so that we're all in the same place. I wouldn't be able to record much in the way of picture or audio though, because I'll get in trouble. But it's something to look at, because as I say, I've been asked a lot of questions this month about various things. When I've put up what I'm doing on Facebook, people have said, "Oh, how about this? How about that? What did you think of this book or film or you name it?" And people are interested. possibly because when I like something, I can get quite enthusiastic about it, which is, I think, a good thing. When I don't like things, it amuses people no end. In that, sorry, I'm being told by the lovely Elric that there is a website for watching movies together. That'd be quite fun. Let's stream together. But yeah, when I don't like something, like Britannia, the TV series, everyone I think at the beginning of the season and last summer, people were saying, "Have you seen Britannia? Have you seen Britannia? There's druids in it. Oh my god." So I watched the first episode, and it was awful. It was so bad. I really didn't like it. Fine, okay, dramatic license, whatever, but Paul Mackenzie Crook being a druid off his bonce on mushrooms, I'd rather watch Horrible Histories, to be honest. I'd rather watch the Horrible Histories Boudica song, because it's far more historically accurate, even if she's wearing a carpet. But they use LARP weapons in Horrible Histories. How can you not love that? But yeah, Britannia didn't make it very far with that one. But people are often curious about what I think about things, and I'm not sure why, but I'm happy to chat. I didn't find it offensive, Britannia. I found it stupid. It was kind of lame. It was like those very old 50s and 60s historical dramas by the BBC, where they had one historian and it was his view. A bit like a Neil Oliver documentary. Controversial. Yeah, it's... Yes, Horrible Histories is the thing. Go there, they've actually fact-checked, and I've corresponded with the fact-checker guy on Twitter because he's a star. And when he makes mistakes, he holds his hands up, which is really funny. But anyway, questions. I did say to people, let me know questions you might want me to answer. I didn't get many, so I tried to remember the ones which have been asked me over recent weeks. Someone, though, did ask specifically for tonight. They had a question of how I came to Druidry, which I'm asked quite a lot. And I thought, haven't I mentioned this somewhere else? I can't remember if I've told this in the book or on the blog or wherever. I cannot remember, but okay. So, story time, how I got into Druidry. So, one of you was there, Kirsty. Seen the journey from the start. And that's fun. So, okay, let's see. Years ago, in the 90s, the man who was to become my ex-husband, said, "Oh, you should look into paganism because you'd be really interested." I didn't really know it was a thing, so I went off to Borders on Oxford Street, which was the biggest bookshop nearby, and I love Borders anyway because it was great, and discovered the Mind, Body and Spirit section, which had all of the pagan stuff in it. And I started my book collection as was, because we didn't really have the internet much then. We did not. We had the bare basics, so there wasn't book sites, there wasn't recommendation sites. Online paganism wasn't really a thing at that point. People were still waiting to see how it all went, and there was still a certain amount of secrecy and a certain amount of caution, and not embarrassment, but pagans tend to be more hands-on, like paper and ink, rather than online, she said, speaking online right now. We've moved on a bit. But anyway, I read Scott Cunningham's books. I read The Witch's Bible. Shout out to Janet Farrar Naked. Yeah, there was only Geocities. Yeah, or AOL. I remember us being on AOL. But yeah, I got the early Llewellyn stuff, so Silver Raven Wolf and things like that. And some of it made sense to me, and some of it really, really didn't. So I've often said Silver Ravenwolf's first book, which is the broomstick one, with the Barbie on a broom on the front. Not my quote, someone else called it that. she has 2 pages on what you need to have in your magical cabinet. 2 pages, big pages. And that was where I just thought, oh God. But then you have the Farahs in their very Gardnerian Wicca. This has been going on since the 50s and handed down since time immemorial. And that wasn't quite right too. So you had the very traditional Wicca. And I've met tons of traditional Wiccans now. And some are nice and some are not so much. Some are quite kind of insular. And I think we're still, I've often said it, we're still very much evolving. Paganism is evolving as we discover how we can practice and what's allowed. But back then it was very much what is allowed and what is approved of is Wicca, traditional Wicca, or ceremonial magic. So your Aleister Crowley sort of Golden Dawn kind of thing. It was only, paganism was binary, so you had to have male and female in circle. There was so much, and you just look now, it was only, 30 years ago, if that, not even. And we've come so far, which is brilliant, because we've really opened up. But looking back, it's like the Stone Age. So anyway, I read all I could on paganism. That wasn't a great deal, but I read it, and I ended up at Atlantis Books in London and looked around there and that sort of thing. I loved reading people's stories about their personal practice. So I found Sage Woman magazine, which I still get, and now I've been published on their website, and I love, the editor lady is so fantastic. It's wonderful that you can reach out now and just meet these people who've been helping you on your journey since you started. Because that was an American magazine you could only get in Borders, and since then you have to get it sent, or you can get a PDF online. But there's still difficulties. There's still this separation between American paganism, and British. But anyway, eventually, fast forward a few years to the early aughts, and Yahoo was a thing then. So I had a Yahoo email address and Yahoo groups, and I found a thing called the British Druid Order. So it had a Yahoo group and a chat room, and I joined there and said, so what's all this about then? Because I didn't know the difference between Druidry and witchcraft and Wicca and all of the rest. And they threw more books at me, but a lovely person who was in fact the IT moderator of the group said, oh, I'm starting a Druid Grove near Woking. Do you want to come and join? And I said, yeah, okay, that's not far from me. That's a few train stops. So I got on the train on my own and travelled to Woking, which is a little town in the south middle-ish of Britain. It is... If you've seen the film The World's End with Simon Pegg, it's kind of like that. That was St Albans, but they're very similar. It looks like that. And Woking is most known for being the site where the aliens landed in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. So outside the shopping centre, there's an alien statue. There's a giant tripod, as you do. But I got picked up and we went out to the woods, and I think there was a group of about 4 or 5 of us. We got together and decided that, okay, we were going to be a Druid circle, now what? And we did, I've told this story for sure, we did the Druid Philip Carr-Gomm chant, which is, we come in peace and love to stand, heart to heart and hand to hand. Da-dum, 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 we can't remember the rest, is how it went. And of course, once you stop trying to do what you should be doing and get into what you can do and what you should do as a group of real human beings, it was brilliant. After that, we just started laughing and settled down, had a proper chat, and had some food and a nice picnic, and explored the woods, and it was lovely. And through doing that and through the online community, many of whom I still chat to now, and who have become really good friends, I've I learnt what Druidry was. I went and read more books. I did a year-long course with Emma Restel-Orr when she was doing her Living Druidry course. Himself and I then, a few years later, went to study on Anglesey with the Anglesey Druid Order, as was. It's changed a lot now, I understand. And our theory was that we've studied, so we need to do something with that study. We can't just have the information here. It needs to be practical. So we took the information and we brought it back to where we are, which by then was Derbyshire. And things happened, believe it or not. It was the thing of moving from London to Derbyshire, then my marriage failing, then losing my job, and people saying, why don't you do Druidry full time? And me saying, I can't do that, that's ridiculous. Who does that? And before I knew it, I had a full diary every summer. I had one book and then two, and I'm still being called upon. I'm talking about it right now. So it's the thing of from just exploring and just starting out and poking and following my path. I mean, I remember when we were first asked to do a wedding, and I panicked so hard because this is a big deal and we want to do it properly. And I did a practice run in the back garden, and it was awful. It was really, really, really bad. And I ended up just falling apart, laughing in the backyard, going, this is terrible. Okay, right, this is the worst it can possibly be. Let's never do this again. This is always the point we are aiming away from. We will go that way. We will never, ever go near this again. It will never be this bad, because I will determine not to make it this bad. Yeah, it was terrible, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was trying to, as always, I was trying to remember what I should be doing in terms of the rite. And that's not the way to do it. Every time I've tried to do what I should be doing, so say I've got a Scott Cunningham book and I'm reading the ritual, and saying the words, they're not my words, so they're not right. They're not right for me in this place and where I am. They were for him when he wrote them. And reading from other people's rituals, I've always had that. It's the thing of, that was right for you then. And I do write rituals for people, but I write them for those people specifically. So it's focused, but even there it changes on the day. And I love spontaneous ritual. Hold on, this light is bugging me. There we go. Spontaneous ritual is way better because it comes from your heart. It comes from inside. There we go. Block the light. And that was one of the things I learned. And people ask me lots of questions, and sometimes I have to say, this is what is called the pagan mysteries. And people read their Marion Zimmer Bradley fiction and say, oh, the pagan mysteries, magic spells, zappy zap. The pagan mysteries is simply a way of referring to those things it's very hard to describe. You have to do it for yourself. Quote, The Matrix. It's true of most philosophy and spirituality and religion stuff. And, oh, thank you. Someone is saying they love listening to me. I'm glad I'm not just waffling. It's pagan mysteries are when you're sitting in the dark in a bad place and you feel an arm around your shoulder even though there's no one else in the room. Yes, that has happened to me. When you call for help and something happens, the phone rings, or there's a knock at the door, something happens to let you know that you're heard. Something happens to remind you that this is a lived religion. This is something we do here and now. This is not something airy-fairy that we only do on Sundays in our best clothes. And it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain that to people whose only frame of reference for religion is the Christianity of their school days, for example. Something very dogmatic and which you do not question. And I've said it. I had a very good religious studies teacher who, when he got a group of teenagers genuinely interested in what he had to say, getting him on a lunchtime once and saying, "Sir, what, Christianity? Explain." And there was always the point we got to where he said, "You just have to have faith." And that was wonderful, because all of the other teachers would say, "Stop asking the questions. Stop asking, because we don't have the answers, and we don't like that, because we're teachers and we're supposed to know everything." He admitted that there are things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that he didn't know. And that honesty struck a chord with me very much, because my experience of my spirituality is not going to be the same as yours. It isn't. Which is why I know the heathens certainly have a thing they call unverified personal gnosis, which is basically their experience as they've had it of a mystical or spiritual thing. And if enough people have the same experience, then it's probably real. But if only one person has it, it might be real, they might be nuts. Who knows? I'm on medication. But it's the thing of, as long as you are acting truly in your faith, and that a part of that is admitting that you don't know stuff, that you don't know everything, of course. It's called pagan practice. It's because we constantly have to practice. This is what we do. And we always find new stuff out. And until this year, I had no idea how to do paganism during a pandemic. Because why would you? But we are constantly learning. And, yeah, Caitlin, when I was a teacher, I was happy to be one page ahead of the children. Yeah. And that was when it was pages and blackboards, I suspect, like me. But, yeah, it's... UPG is not just heathen. Okay, awesome. I've only seen it in heathen books. I really like it. I think it's a great thing, because it stops those books who say this is the ultimate truth, which happened a lot in the ceremonial magic that I used to read. My ex really honestly did cast a circle, not with a compass and a protractor, but near as damn it had to be perfect, and do things at the right time on the right day or it wouldn't happen, and he would have a massive sulk. And I can't do that. It's ridiculous. Because I think my gods are bigger than that. I see people reading rituals off of laminated cards with all of the enthusiasm of someone reading a prayer book in church for the umpteenth time. And it makes me sad, because they're not speaking from their heart. And if you're speaking to your gods or your ancestors or the people in circle with you right then, you do them the courtesy of speaking honestly and heartfelt. You don't just go blah, 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 because you will fall over, you'll trip up, people will tune out, the energy will just be appallingly bad. It won't work, because you're faking it, and you can't do that. Or you can, but you'll fail. And think of the worst church visit or worst ritual you've ever been to, usually as kids, I noticed this, where the vicar really doesn't want to be there, for example. I've been to weddings like that, where I've been to good ones, where the priest has been really so honestly ecstatic for the couple getting married. He's so happy and he's buoyed up, and it's wonderful because you all feel it and it's infectious. And I've been to ones where the guy was just reading the words. And that was one where I had to stand up and speak. So I stood up and spoke properly in the manner that I do in ritual. And as I sat down, that vicar was staring at me, and I felt like sticking my finger up at him, because, yeah, bitch, I know how to do this, and I'm doing your job better. And in a strictly come dancing way of putting things, you're a 5. I'm holding up a card with 5 on it and judging you. So, yeah, I'm seeing people telling their stories now. I've been to funerals where the person hasn't known the person in the casket. The person doing the ritual has not known the individual who's died and has got facts wrong. And again, I'm sitting there judging, like Len Goodman, And I'm not happy, because that is the rudest thing. I have a dog making noises. Fen! Ugh, I'm in the same room as the dog's food bowls. I apologise. But anyway, I've been to lectures like that. Oh, it's the worst. I don't know how they can do it, because you must be able to feel the class nodding off. You don't want that. You want people listening. You want people engaging and enjoying what you're doing, surely. Like you guys are right now. So, but yeah, so I got into Druidry by reading books and then going out and doing it. And I still am. Both of those things. So, that's the quick answer. You try stuff. You try what appeals. You try when you read a book and go, oh, that sounds interesting, that's striking a chord with me. And then you try it and see how it works for you. And sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it does. Nimue Brown's book, When a Pagan Prays, describes this really, really well. Go and look that book up, it's great. She talks about how you can read all the books about making cupboards that you possibly can, but it won't teach you how to do it yourself until you actually do it. But she talks about what is prayer? What does that mean? Exactly, it's the way to do things. She tries praying. She hears that massive silence when you ask God for something, and you just hear crickets, if that. But then she keeps on with it and advances, and this is the journey. This is why I think when I first started, I loved reading people's stories about how they practiced, because that's what I like to share as well. Do it with passion or don't do it at all, indeed. Don't do a half-assed job. And I love telling the stories of it, because people will then hopefully go, oh, that doesn't sound too hard, that sounds realistic, kind of. I could probably try that. And they go off and do it, which is what you want, really. And then hopefully they'll come back and tell you their story. And if you read my books, they're full of stories. If you read my blog, they're full of stories. I love including other people's stories, even though I worry because sometimes they don't give me permission. I do it anecdotally, and I don't have that big a readership, and I don't use names. So, no, identities are protected to, what is it? Identities are withheld to protect the guilty. One of those stupid cartoon phrases. But, yeah, so that's how I did my Druidry. And I did want the first book to be called The Druidry What I Does, in the manner of Morecambe and Wise, the play what I wrote. But my editor said probably not. So I called one of the chapters that instead. That's about as rough and ready and realistic a Druidry as can be. Oh dear. So questions, you guys. I have almost 20 people. Well, 20 people including me. There you go. Questions. Druidry stuff. What do you want to know? I've seen so much lately all about witchy stuff, and people have said, what's the difference? The word, the practice, they're kind of the same thing, just done in different ways. But witches seem to get all the cool stuff still. They seem to get all the stuff like the Craft movie and whatnot, and druids tend to get the Gandalf-y things. I mean, if you've seen the movie The Last Legion, it's really funny. It isn't intended to be. It's really, really funny, because historically it's rubbish. But as a sort of Roman era action movie, it's hilarious. Ben Kingsley is a Welsh druid, because of course he is. But they've got a trained raven to fly to his hand at key moments, so he sets up bits when he's going to look the most dramatic in the film, and the raven helps because he wants to get the leaders to do what he wants, and it's funny. It's so funny, and he's so Welsh. And for those of you who know Welsh druids, like Chris Hughes or people like that, it's a very different thing in reality. But then you get, there's a lot of young ladies coming up to Wicca and witchcraft these days, and it's crystals, isn't it? It's all about crystals right now. Less about black eyeliner. than when I was younger, but so much about crystals. And I don't know. There was a talk once years ago on that same Yahoo group I mentioned of having, at the summer solstice at Stonehenge, a big fight between the Druids and the witches. And the Druids would win because they had the staffs, we reckoned. But the witches would have all of their jewellery, which must weigh quite a bit. And we'd sort of run at each other. And it's funny. But on the other hand, I'm very aware of people coming up. I don't want to mock them at all, but they'll find things the way they find them. But I do wonder if the crystal industry has a vested interest in all of this, because there seems to be so much of it. But I'm not mocking nastily at all. I'm saying this is why I do what I do. I get out there and I go, look, this is me doing paganism. Some call it Druidry, some call it witchcraft, some call it whatever. I mean, I've said I've been called a Drew witch. Are more people exploring Druidry paganism? Yes. Yeah. They were, and then with pandemic, even more. And I hear this on the interfaith grapevine too, that a lot of people are finding religion, I guess, in the pandemic situation because they need something hopeful, I think, something to help them get through. And of course I've seen that in the prisons. That's absolutely a thing. When you're stuck in a place, as we all have been, you want something to help you. And I've had a lot of people come to me saying, stuff, tell me stuff, help. And I want to go around their houses and chat and take them outside to do the thing, but we can't, so you have to do the best you can. And this is why online. I mean, there's been a lot of online rituals and things like that, which is wonderful. There's been online camps and online courses, and people are finding the way to do things, even when they're locked up. Best witches are in Discworld. Terry Pratchett used to donate to pagan charities. This wasn't really known, but some people know. It's like there's a lot of celebrity witches. Roseanne Barr was a notable celebrity witch. Sybil Shepherd even did it in her show, Sybil. She was calling a circle and cone of power and all of that stuff, and chocolate was involved, so we know she knew what she was doing. Terry Pratchett knew about paganism, and Terry Pratchett absolutely 100% knew who he was talking to with the Tiffany Aching books as well. When you read them, you can see that he is talking to the reader, and I love it in the sense of the witches getting together and bitching about each other, and Granny Weatherwax is sitting out of the way because she knows she's the best, and that's that. It's so funny. But I haven't read the last 2 Discworld books, by the way. Don't spoil me. I can't read them just yet. I will, but when I've read them, it's done. I've not read the last David Eddings book for the same reason, and I know he's controversial now, but if you just read the stuff and read for the characters, I don't want it quite to be over yet. So one day I will crack them. But I think when people say about sometimes it's time to put the hat on and remind them who's boss, which is a Pratchett thing. Yeah, Druids absolutely do that. But mine is usually just I've got the big stick. And so many people love that stick with the leaves on it because it looks so druidy. I've walked through Derby town with that stick when I bust my ankle, and I had all the homeless people running alongside me, cheering me on, going, "Come on, girl, you can do it." I'm like, I want to stop and hit you with the stick. And someone said, "Oh, it's a very druidy stick," and I just looked at them and went, "Yeah." But this is the thing, we do our paganism in daily life, and I've been caught in Nottingham town centre in the snow, and the only things that I had to wear as proper clothing, because I wasn't prepared, was the waxed cloak that I was given. I have got a waxed cloak with a fur lining. It's lovely. It's snuggly and warm and waterproof. So I was walking through Nottingham town centre in a barber cloak, essentially, with a stick. And people were staring. And I just thought, I don't care, because I'm dry and warm. And I'm not going to fall over on the ice because I've got my stick. So, this is practical paganism. And yep, Nanny Og, practical pagan. God's sake. I'm not going to talk about all the stuff that she's known for, but it's the epitome of the grandmothers, isn't it? It's the grannies who teach the wisdom, and it's often very homegrown wisdom. And I'm not a granny, but I'm a mad auntie. And some of my nieces and nephews love it, and some of them aren't quite sure. But they know where we are if they want help, and that's the thing. So, yeah. More questions. Come on. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask me? How are we doing for time is my question. Let's have a look. Okay. I'm checking my battery. And it's not telling me. Wellies and waterproofs, vital druid kit, 2 right. A major Samhain ritual in the woods in the early 2000s outside Lincoln. It rained. The people who were supposed to be the ritual subjects didn't turn up on time. They were like an hour late. So me and himself were sitting in these wet woods in our wet clothes. And I was wearing a woolly cloak because I thought it was going to be dry. And a woolly cloak, when it's wet, becomes a towel. So by the time the people turned up, we were really, really ready for them. So, yeah, that was fun. Don't piss off your ritualists. It's a bad idea. Oh dear. I'm trying to think of what other things I've been asked recently. If you sent me a question and you're here now, ask it, because I've forgotten. Ah dear. I'm now watching the chat go completely silent. I have a puppy still. We have a puppy by the door, keeping an eye on me. The kitten's gone out because it's got dark, so she's gone on mousing duties. She's been lately leaving mice for us, which is interesting. Too many excuse rudeness with pagan time. Yeah. Pagan standard time annoys me. Pagan standard time generally is used as a joke to mean we'll turn up when we do. And if you've got someone there who spent ages working on the ritual for you, the least you can do is turn up and participate and respect. So, it's like people talking in theatre or phones going off. I was in one ritual once and 3 phones went off, and we do say to people beforehand to turn them off, but they can stand there and be embarrassed, and I will absolutely look at them. I will absolutely stare. Best fiction book for Druidry. I prefer Druidry to Druidism, by the way, but that's just me. There's no reason, I just like how it sounds. Fiction book. Oh, goodness me. I'll put it up on my Facebook afterwards because I can't remember the name. And I thought I'll look it up on my phone, and I'm talking to you on my phone, so I won't do that. Beth Webb, who is a lovely lady, did a series about a young lady who essentially is learning Druidry in ancient times, but it's very fantasized, but the practicality is there, and it's lovely. It's really, really lovely. Look up Beth Webb and you'll see you'll see it. There's a series. It's hard to miss. Or Terry Pratchett, Tiffany Aching series. Yes, it's witches. It's also druids. It really, really is. Hardest thing you've been asked to do when you were working with the prison service? Oh my goodness. There's a question. I don't know. Hardest thing to do is probably stop doing it, because I haven't been there obviously for a while, because no one has been. I often think of them because there's no way to get in touch with them because they're stuck inside. Hardest thing. There's so many things that I can't talk about. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations, but I can't. It's the same as confessional, I think. You know, you're told things in confidence that you can't share. Hardest thing. Sometimes the hardest thing is walking into somewhere. It's walking through a door where you know it's going to be challenging, or it's setting up a ritual and watching people come in because you know it's going to be difficult for many different reasons. And I like to think I've seen most situations now. This is probably not true, and I'm really putting my foot in it for saying that. But sometimes you know that people are going to enter that ritual with issues that they have to bring. And you just have to hold the space. Okay, here's one. At one of the prisons, they've been allowed a pagan circle. They made it a circle in the gardens out of stones, and different quarters have different stone bases. And it's absolutely gorgeous. They put so much effort in because they know it's a privilege to have this. And I think there's very few that are allowed to do that, because a lot of those in charge imagine paganism to be all the worst things of Hammer horror. You know, that sort of stuff. And the people who I'd asked to help me do the ritual were traditional Wiccans. So we all went into the circle, and I was last, and because I was kind of herding, and I was stopped at the entrance and said, "Do you come here in perfect love and perfect trust?" I'm standing in a prison with a bunch of guys, and I don't know what they'd all done. I never asked. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't, but I felt safe enough with them. And when I say safe enough, that's for a given value of safe, but you're always on your toes. But I said, I come here in love and trust. It's not perfect, but I stand here with you as equal. And they smiled and let me in. And I think if I'd just said it, there would have been less respect, because it would have been a lie, and they would have known it was a lie. Or they would have tried to get something out of me for saying it. But it's difficult. You have to manage these things on the spot sometimes, which is why I do pause, like I did just then, to think. Because sometimes if you just talk, you'll not say the wrong thing, but say it wrongly, misrepresent, which I don't ever want to do. And I do try and catch myself. If I've said something that comes out wrong, I'll try and stop myself and say, right, back up. We try and get it right. Sometimes our mouths don't work. I really know this. How do you help someone who is wavering in their spirituality? Or is it something that should be left alone? Depends if they've asked. Have they asked for help? Otherwise, you can offer, or you can just say, I'm here for you, and let them go where they want to go with it. I've spoken to people who aren't sure until they get into circle, and then when they see the reality of it, they end up often crying because it's emotional, but then realising how true pagan practice is. And that's enough. That helps them get where they need to go. It's, right, okay, this is how it's done. You can do your thing this way. Off you go. Go and do your thing. Explore. Go crazy. And sometimes it's giving that permission. It's saying, I'm here. Do what you need to do. I'm still here. You can call on me. You can drop me a note. You can spuff to me. You can say what you like. And I won't judge, but I will, if you want my advice, I will give it. Otherwise, it's up to them, because sometimes it's a difficult place to be in. Have you found that over the years you've drifted away from groups and become more of a solitary hedge druid? Yes. But that's generally due to lack of local people. Some of it has been that since my first book, I've been much more available to people over a wider area. And I mean the world, because I have got readers in many countries. But as a result of that, I've travelled to do ritual in many places. And each one of those is just as valid as any other, but I don't have a home grove or a home group. I have tried a couple of times, but it's never worked out. It just hasn't. One time I was all set to do it and everyone bottled. Everyone just went, no, sorry, we can't make it because whatever reason. And I thought, fine, it's not the right time. It's okay, it happens. I have my groups of students, and that's always lovely because each year is very different. I will gladly contribute to a group, but I don't have a regular one anymore. I haven't for a long time, and I think if one were to show up and the time was right, I think it'd be lovely. I would be really happy. But if you're in a group, it can't be about the individual. It would not be about me. It would be about the group and what everyone brings to the group. So you'd still have your solitary practice yourself in your home, but you would also have what you would bring to the group. So it's a balance. But in recent times, it's kind of been solitary stuff and then sharing with others like this, sharing with people like I'm doing right now. And yeah, I don't own a hedge either. We have a garden full of ivy and stuff, but no hedge. My hair looks like a hedge. It's really muggy here tonight. We think it's going to storm, but my hair goes like Crystal Tips or Meredith from Brave. So I tried to tame it and not really succeeded, but yeah. How are we doing? I have no idea how much my battery is because it doesn't tell me. Oh, there we go. It doesn't tell me, so I hope I'm not going to lose you all at some point. It's nearly an hour, so I'm going to say let's call it there, but if you have other questions, always drop me a line. Always drop me a line. I have wolves. I've got collies. There's so many things that I could talk about as stories, but as I say, it's not about me either. It's about what people want to know and want to hear. And I want to say I will do what you need me to do. Does that make sense? I'm still here doing my Druidry for the community, even in lockdown. And it's been funny to see how that's manifested, because a lot of it's online, but a lot of it has also been my very non-pagan neighbours stopping us to ask stuff as well. And himself has had it from a work point of view. I've often said it, he's got his ambulance greens and they're Ovatic greens as well. Ask questions as you need to. I will not share unless you say I can share. But if you want me to do another one of these, then absolutely we can. I'm happy to do a movie watch. I was thinking of doing Midsummer or The Witch. The Witch, the recent one with Black Phillip. So there's those, or I can do something older like Bell, Book and Candle. I mean, old but fun with Jack Lemmon in. It's a great film. Or I can do book readings. I will recommend books on this topic on my Facebook. But yeah, drop me notes. As always, I'm here. I'm not far away from most of you. Yeah, I'm going to go and sort the doggy some treats because he's been guarding me. And I'll see you all soon. This is going on YouTube after, so if you're getting it there, again, ask questions in the comments. It's lovely to hear from everyone. So it feels like a hug. Oh, I so want to run to everyone and hug them and say it's going to be all right with this flipping stupid pandemic situation, but we do what we can. I send virtual hugs. Yes, I have a shawl on. I send virtual hugs with shawls. I'll see you all soon, hopefully. All right, take care.